We're off to a 1-0 start after a 35-10 victory over Kentucky and Jordan Marshall's return to Ann Arbor. And it was not a good one. 11 carries, 28 yards for Jordan Marshall. And it was overall a dominant victory. We allowed 10 points in the first half, and the defense kind of struggled early on, but they found their rhythm and shut out Kentucky in the second half. And there's a lot of new faces on this offense as well to be excited about. One of which is Micah Kalapana, who I wasn't really excited about when we saw what the depth chart was going to look like at the beginning of the year. But 14 carries in that game, had a touchdown, over 100 yards, also had one reception. And I think he played really well in that Kentucky game. Don Bruschi also got a lot of snaps in that one, more as a receiving threat out of the backfield, but played really good overall. And then the receiving core is a lot different than it was last year. Andrew Marsh, of course, he transferred out. Amarion Stewart is the only returning starter, but the additions of Aiden Mizell and Malik Clark, I think, are going to make this an excellent receiving core. And Malik Clark was the one who had the breakout performance in that Kentucky game with 5 catches, 132 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I'm excited about Malik Clark, and with him only being a sophomore, I think there's room for him to develop into a really solid weapon on this offense. Michael Smith, the transfer tight end, he was banged up a little bit in that game, had some wear and tear to deal with, only had 1 reception, but he is good to go, and he has no risk of injury at the moment. So hopefully Michael Smith can get a proper debut today against Texas. Defensively, the addition to Marquise Lightfoot makes me extremely excited. We also saw a lot of George Luter in that game, the 5-star true freshman, and then Enau Etta has filled in perfectly in the middle of that defensive line. I'm extremely excited to have him there. The linebackers played really well, and the only part that we saw that was a little bit concerning was the play of Josiah Edmond. We did move him down the depth chart and move Jaden Sanders and Shamari Earls up after Kentucky had a pretty good start offensively. Once we moved Edmond down in the depth chart, we saw the defense play a lot better. Jordan Young, the redshirt sophomore, in his first year starting, played really, really well. And then Mason Curtis at strong safety is also a really solid player for us. So our first opponent in today's video is going to be Texas. No more Arch Manning. It is Carl Lacey Jr. at quarterback for Texas. Apparently a former number 1-star recruit, has pretty solid accuracy. He's got 90 throw power. He has a little bit of elusiveness with 89 speed, so he can certainly get out of the pocket if he needs to. Texas is 2-0, and so far on the season, he's had 5 passing touchdowns, went over 300 yards against UTEP, and then 266 yards against New Mexico State, and he used his legs a fair amount. Their running back room is probably one of the best in the country with Cameron Dickey, Bo Jackson, the transfer from Ohio State, and James Simon. I anticipate they'll probably only use Dickey and Jackson. We'll see if Simon gets in on the action, but I'm not sure the Longhorns are going to be rotating this backfield that often. And then at receiver, 96 overall, Kalik Lockett. And then how about Jamie French? Maybe going to be a Michigan receiver here soon if you guys have kept up with the transfer portal. And actually by time that this episode is coming to YouTube, Jamie French had probably already made his decision as to where he's going to go. He's got excellent speed, needs to work on his catching a little bit, 89 catching as a junior. Like to see that go up a little bit. The route running is excellent. He has really good elusiveness. Jamie French is a really good receiver overall. And this Texas roster is really, really solid. They have star players everywhere on this team, but there is one part of the defense that I think is a little bit lackluster, and that is their linebackers. They don't have anybody over an 83 overall. Hakeem Adebu is going to be their starting Mike linebacker. I think if there's any place that we can attack this Texas defense, it's going straight to their linebackers, trying to run the ball on them, and I anticipate Micah Kalapana might have a big day if we're able to make that happen. As we lost to Texas in 2024, lost to them again in 2025 in the Citrus Bowl, didn't play them last season, but now an opportunity to avenge those 2 losses against Texas. Like I mentioned, no Arch Manning there at quarterback. It's a new era beginning in Austin, Texas, and that's where we are on the road today to take on the Longhorns in a top 10 undefeated showdown. This is a big game right here, non-conference for both teams. So it doesn't affect your conference standings, doesn't affect your path to a conference championship, but at the end of the day, a win here can propel a team to have the momentum needed to go on a deep run this season. Bryce Underwood is apparently just running his way down the field here on this opening possession as we move into Texas territory to try and get the game's first points. As true freshman running back Dom Brewski in the game now, as Underwood's going to step up again. He's ran the ball all over this Longhorns defense, and he continues to do it up to the 27-yard line. And he quickly has 48 yards rushing early in this game. Kaapana checks into the game now, and he gets the carry, and Kaapana's going to score. What a start for Michigan. Just running the ball all the way down the field. Bryce Underwood led the way pretty much the entire possession, but then Micah Kaapana is going to cap off an excellent statement drive here on the road for the Wolverines. But Texas is going to try to respond with a drive of their own here as they move to the 34 of Michigan. In the pocket is Lacey. He throws across the middle, and he's got his man for a first down. As Texas has moved into the red zone. The defense struggled in the first half against Kentucky at times, but got it going in the second half as Cole Sullivan's going to get the sack. Now going to be a linebacker for Texas's biggest rivals, the Oklahoma Sooners. I wish Michigan was able to retain him, but overall I'm happy about the pieces that they're getting. Cole Sullivan with the sack, backing Texas up to the 25-yard line. A 2nd and 18 upcoming. The defense making plays early in this game. Man in motion, it is a play fake. Here is Lacey in the pocket. He's going to be sacked again. That's Marquise Lightfoot on the sack. And he is shaken up on the play, so got to monitor the health of our star edge rusher, Marquise Lightfoot. It's a left arm injury, and the risk of injury at the moment is severe, so we'll see what that means. Devon Baxter now fills in, and I think in this situation, I'd actually like to see our true freshman George Luter get some more playing time. From the 30-yard line, it's 3rd and long. Lacey in the pocket, scanning. He's going to check this one down to Jamie French, and he'll pick up a good gain, but still well shy of the first down. And Texas will finish this drive off with 3. It's a 7-3 lead for Michigan. Both teams scoring on their first possession. This one's probably going to be a good one. Cameron Dickey with a 34-yard run sets them up in Michigan territory as they look to find the end zone for the first time in today's game. Both defenses playing really well here so far in the first half. They spread things out on 1st and 10. Here is Lacey getting out of the pocket, and he throws this one down to Jamie French, hopefully the future Michigan receiver. So Marquise Lightfoot is out there at the moment. Looks like he's going to try and give it a go in this big-time matchup. We'll still monitor his wear and tear, though, as he is going to get the tackle there. The 5-star true freshman George Luter checks into the game here on 3rd and 1, and Lacey is not going to get the first down, and that's going to bring him a 4th and inches. Texas is going for it. We're going to stack the box here. They go I formation on 4th and inches. Hand it off. First down, Texas. Cameron Dickey, 6 carries, 47 yards, and that was the biggest run of the game so far for him. Here's a swing out to French. He's got space, and French is going to pick up 6 yards to the 11 of Michigan. 2nd down and 4 from the 11, and RPO. That's going to be a handoff. A juke move on Shamari Earls inside the 5, and Texas is knocking on the door. James Simon checks into the game, so no Bo Jackson. I expected Bo Jackson to get more touches than James Simon. It hasn't been the case. 1st and goal from the 2-yard line. It's a read option. Lacey's going to score. Texas reclaims the lead. I guess they are not reclaiming the lead, but they take the lead. After we were unable to do anything with the ball, we had to punt it back to Texas. And now they have it at the 12-yard line with a minute to go, 1st and 10. Trying to get points before the end of the half. Here's Simon to the outside. Running through a man is Simon. And he picks up 6 yards. It's important to try and keep Texas out of the end zone here to prevent this from being a 2-score game going into the half. The offense has gone cold in this one, as here is the quarterback going to step up, scramble, and he's down at the 1 with Texas spending their 2nd timeout. This is a big-time play here. 1st and goal. They're handing it off, and Owusu Boateng is going to hold him short of the end zone. And we just earned some points after that play. Second and goal now, 9 seconds remaining. They're going to call a timeout with 8 seconds left. And I anticipate, well, I thought they were going to kick a field goal here. This could be the last play of the half here. Second and goal, 8 seconds remaining. They do not have any timeouts. They're passing. Sullivan blitzes, and the pass is thrown away and incomplete. And now Texas will march out the field goal kicker to try and make this a 13-7 game heading into the half. We started off really well in this one, and then the offense went cold. The defense still doing their thing. It's a one-score game at halftime. Michigan with the ball here at the 23-yard line. Second down and 7. Micah Cobb on the back. Taken down at the line of scrimmage for no gain. We need to make a play here to try and get this lead back. The Texas defense has made the plays that they need to make. Third and 7, Cobb in motion. Underneath is Clark, and Malik Clark's going to have the first down. That was only Clark's first reception of the game. We have to get him involved more. Here's another reception for Clark, the second in a row, and he's now shaken up. 2 tight ends in the game now. Cobb is going to get the carry. He is trying to find a hole, and he's taken down after a small pickup. 6 carries, 28 yards for Cobb. He had a long touchdown run, but ever since then, it's been nothing going for the junior running back. So third down and 6 now for Michigan, as Underwood hit as he throws, and the pass falls incomplete. Michigan will have to punt. Again, Texas knocking on the door now. 2nd and 5 at the 19 of Michigan, looking to add on to their lead as they run it on second down, and it's Enaletta in the backfield taking down Cameron Dickey. And that will bring up 3rd and 5. Even a field goal makes this a 2-score game, but I think it's better to be 16-7 than 20-7 as they go play action here. This one thrown to the end zone. Shamari rolls in coverage, and he's able to break it up. And Texas is going for it. An interesting decision being made right now by Texas. If they don't get this, Michigan will have the ball down, still only down by 6, and they're going to stop them. What a weird play call by Texas. I did not like that at all. But of course, I mean, me being Michigan, of course I liked it, but that made no sense. Though 13-7, I can't even talk. Malik Clark was open, but Underwood did not have the time to get rid of it. This should be the last play of the third quarter. Underwood's going to be sacked. You got to get rid of the ball. Nobody was open. Pocket collapsed, and it's going to bring up a 3rd and 19 for Michigan. And the offense just has not looked good. 74 yards passing, 59 yards rushing. That's atrocious. That's pretty much from our first drive, and then ever since then, we've done literally nothing. Underwood 7 for 12 passing. Just an ugly offensive game right now, as Malik Clark is wide open. Malik Clark, first down. And you have to wonder about the wear and tear on Malik Clark. He is pretty shaken up at the moment. But when you needed him most, he made a play. Malik Clark will leave the field, and Jamar Browder will now come out for some snaps, as this one's going to be thrown. Amarion Stewart has it in space. A first down up to the 32 of Texas, as Andrew Babalola shaken up on the play. Finally, the offense with some momentum, as Micah Cobb will get the carry. Cobb with a first down up to the 18-yard line. Michigan moves into the red zone as they look to take the lead. Jamar Browder still in the game right now from the 18-yard line. Dom Brewski's in there at running back. He receives the screen, and Brewski's going to have a first down up to the 7. 1st and goal, Michigan. As they bring out DeCarlos Young, the power back. He's going to get the carry on 1st and goal, and he's down to the 1-yard line. From the 1-yard line, they give the Brewski, and he's taken down for a loss. 3rd down and goal upcoming for Michigan. On this play right here, I like trying to get Underwood out of the pocket, use his legs, give him the opportunity to run it in if it's there. On 3rd and goal, they bring pressure, thrown, and Stewart can't come down with it. And I think in this situation, yes, you do have to go for it. Making this a 3-point game, to me, doesn't really move the needle all that much. So we will go for it. 4th and goal. Time to throw. Browder's open. Touchdown, Michigan. Jamar Browder. Only seeing the field because of the injury to Malik Clark. And he makes a huge play. And he's going to the locker room, apparently. The extra point will make this a 1-point lead for Michigan. How about Jamar Browder making a play when it counts? And it is a 14-13 lead for Michigan after a 10-play, 80-yard scoring drive. The defense needs to make a play now, as Texas is faced with a 3rd and 16, and Michigan will make a play. That'll force a punt. I did see an injury pop up. Not sure who it was, though. As Jamar Browder with another reception, and Bryce Underwood with a 41-yard run up to the 7 of Texas. A score here could make this an 8-point game, as Kaapana gets to give. Kaapana! Touchdown, Michigan! What a run! Now the question is, do you go for 2 and make it a 9-point game, or do you just kick the PAT and make it an 8-point game? I honestly don't mind the idea of going for 2. And I can already see it right now. If we don't get this, the comment section is going to hate me for it. But we're trying to make this a 9-point game. Thrown and intercepted, well, broken up, I should say, by the linebacker, as Jake Guarnera was injured. And it will stay a 7-point game. The defense gets the stop, though, and now Texas is in trouble. We have it at the 28-yard line, 2nd and 6. At this point, Texas needs a turnover because we are knocking on the door. A field goal would make this a 10-point game, and we're going to be faced with a 3rd and 7. This is a big-time play here for Texas. Malik Clark is back out there, so that's something to keep an eye on. Underwood's going to step up in the pocket, slide down, and pick up the 1st down. 85 yards rushing for Bryce Underwood. As the clock goes under 4 minutes, the give to Dombrowski goes for 2. And again, I'll say it again, Texas at this point needs a turnover. And on 2nd down and 8, we're going to keep it on the ground here with Dombrowski, the freshman running back. Picks up a couple of yards up to the 11, and that's going to bring up a 3rd down and 2 for the Michigan offense. Texas needs a huge play here. The tight end, Michael Smith, comes in motion as Brewski stays in the game. Underwood's going to keep it. Underwood picks up the 1st down to the 6-yard line, and Texas will now begin to call timeouts. At this point, they would need a miracle. As Brewski is staying in the game, you have to wonder if Micah Kaapana may be dealing with a little bit of wear and tear. What a cut by Brewski. Touchdown, Michigan. The linebacker was going into the B gap, I do believe, to meet him in the hole. And Brewski with just, what a cutback by the true freshman running back. What a run. And maybe the exclamation point on a thrilling road victory over number 5, Texas. Watch the play back. Brewski gets the carry. There's a wide open hole. I'm going to have to show you in the actual instant replay menu. But watch it again here. 2 tight ends in the game. It's the B gap that's wide open there. Brewski's going to it. The linebacker's going to meet him in that hole. But Dombrowski with a cut on a dime. Now that linebacker's lost. He's all the way up here at the 7-yard line. Like, where did he go? What a run by the freshman. 4th down here for Texas. If they're going to pull off a miracle, they need to convert. And they will, up to the 28-yard line as they take their 2nd timeout. They still need a miracle, but in order for that miracle to even have a chance, they would have had to have converted there. Under a minute to go now for the Longhorns as they trail by 14. This one thrown underneath, caught by Lockett for 8 yards. 42 seconds remaining now as Lacey in the pocket. He's going to step up and run. He's got some speed, and he's going to slide down at the 8-yard line where Texas will use their final timeout. I've seen crazier things happen in college football, but with 35 seconds to go, time is not on the Longhorn side. Lacey in the pocket, touchdown. It is to Kalik Lockett. And that's going to make it a 1-score game. Now we just have to wait for the onside kick. As Texas will go for 2 here to try and make this a 6-point game. Here is Lacey to the end zone. It's Bo Jackson able to come down with it. The first time we've seen him on the field in this game. And thankfully, I'm actually able to select onside kick recovery. Here it is, game on the line. It's recovered by Herschel Turner. And Michigan is going to win this one on the road by 6. You know, there was a point in this game where Texas had went down the field with an opportunity to try and make it a 2-score game, and they did not succeed. And then Michigan scored 20 points in the fourth quarter to pull off what I would consider a comeback. Bryce Underwood, 159 yards passing, 1 touchdown. He also was really, really good with his legs. Maybe the difference maker in this game was Bryce Underwood's ability to scramble and pick up yards when plays broke down. And then Jamar Browder stepping up when we needed him. Carl Lacey had a pretty big day. 48 pass attempts, 327 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. And then running the ball, I think Cameron Dickey ran the ball really well, but overall they couldn't get James Simon going. They didn't put Bo Jackson into the game at all. And then future Michigan receiver Jamie French had 9 catches, 107 yards. I don't actually know that he's going to be a future receiver. I could be totally wrong. Bryce Underwood, 12 of 18 passing, 159 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. I think that's a really solid day in the office right there. Did what he needed to do, managed the game very well, and also used his legs really well. Micah Kapana had 2 touchdowns on the ground, but did suffer an injury in this game. We'll have to see if it's a long-term injury. Don Bruschi did have a touchdown as well. And then in the receiving game, Michael Smith, 3 catches, 32 yards. Malik Clark, 3 for 46. And then Jamar Browder with a touchdown. Aiden Mizell only with 1 reception in this game. And then defensively, Dion Mangum had a sack. Cole Sullivan with a sack. Enal Etta and Marquise Lightfoot each had a sack. But Marquise Lightfoot does have an injury he's dealing with. And then Danny Henson also left the game with an injury. So that's not good to see. We left this game pretty banged up here on the road. It was a hard-hitting matchup. It was a top 10 matchup. We'll have to check on the health of a lot of our players here. I do apologize as well. There were a couple points in that game where my commentary was just atrocious. I'm telling you, my brain is working faster than my lips, or the opposite way around. My lips are thinking faster than my brain, and sometimes I start saying stuff, and I don't know where I'm going with it. The goal is to get really good at this, and the only way I'm going to get good at it is if I continue to make these videos, and each video hopefully will get better. If you guys are new to the channel, I'm normally not a live commentary channel. My Utah State Dynasty was all post-commentary, so if I messed up, I could just redo it. With live commentary, that's not an option, so the goal is to get better. I do appreciate you guys watching these videos. It means a lot to me. And after that game, we do have some injuries to talk about. Micah Kapana with a torn labrum will miss 4 weeks. And then Marquise Lightfoot, the senior, has a broken toe and he will miss 6 weeks. So those are big injuries to this Michigan football team. And the biggest injury comes in the running back room because Micah Kapana had been playing really, really well. And now we're giving the backfield to a true freshman, Don Bruschi. You also have Herschel Turner. You have David Ahanotu, and then DeCarlos Young. But it's the speed that we don't have with the backfield now after Kapana's injury that really concerns me. We'll have to see if Herschel Turner can make an impact. He does have 90 speed, but I don't like how this is developed here with the running back room. And then as far as edge rushers go, Marquise Lightfoot being taken out, I think, sucks, but it opens the door for George Luter to get more playing time. He's already on the field when we go to our 4-3 look, but he hasn't been on the field when we go to a nickel or dime look. That's going to change now, though, because George Luter is going to get some snaps at left end when we go to the nickel look. And I think it's an excellent opportunity for the true freshman to get some serious playing time here, and we'll see how he performs. After that win, we've moved up all the way to number 3 in the top 25 polls, as our next matchup is against Eastern Michigan. As far as recruiting goes, there's really still not a lot to talk about. We're still putting 50 hours on many of these guys, and for the most part, we are winning a lot of these battles. We're going after 18 guys. We've offered 18 scholarships, and we're in first place for every single one of these players except for DeMarcus Morrow, and that is it. So I like the way that recruiting has looked. Here soon, we'll start to get into that, time of the season where we can start to hard sell guys when we find out what their deal breakers are. Like Marco DiNucci, for example, we're the only person that has offered him, but we're in the top 5, and we could probably do some process of elimination and find out what we could put to hard sell. But like I said earlier in the off-season episode, I'm probably not going to be talking about recruiting a whole lot this season, just because I think it can get a little bit repetitive, and I think that you're going to talk about recruiting a lot more when you get to the off-season. Plus, we only have 10 seniors, so we don't need a whole lot. The 18 that you see here are probably the 18 we're going to go after for the majority of the season. We do have some coach points to spend here. I'll spend 8 on linebackers here in the tactician skill tree. And our next matchup is against Eastern Michigan, so I don't anticipate having to really step into this game. This should be a dominant victory. And then we should have a bye after that week, and then we'll get into Big Ten play on the road against Indiana. And then, of course, another 3-game stretch against Penn State, UCLA, and Oregon. All 3 of those games look to be challenging, and then there should be an easy stretch here. And Ohio State's still not ranked. They are 2-0, but still not ranked here. You gotta think they're going to be ranked by the time we take them on. If they're not, that would shock me. As we're back at the big house after the road victory over Texas, and you gotta think in this game right here, the main goal is to just not allow anybody to get injured. We just lost 2 of our best players in Micah Kaapana and Marquise Lightfoot. You don't want anybody else to get injured at this point in the season. It's still a young season. It's still time to have guys recover, but overall, you want to make sure you stay healthy in a game like this. And for some reason right now, we are in a dogfight with 1-1 Eastern Michigan. It's 24-17, as Dombrowski's going to get the carry, and Dombrowski's showing off the 90 speed up to the 35-yard line. 7 carries, 109 yards for Dombrowski. But it's a little bit concerning, the fact that we're in a battle right now against Eastern Michigan. This is a game that you would expect to just dominate from start to finish, as Brewski gets another carry out to the left and picks up 4 yards. The true freshman is going to be making the most of his playing time here in this one, as Underwood in the pocket is going to step up and scramble, and Underwood's got the first down. 38 yards rushing for Bryce Underwood. At the 20-yard line now, that brings up a 1st and 10, and Underwood's going down. He loses the ball. It is recovered, however, by Michigan. And you know, one thing when you have these scrambling quarterbacks, these dual threat quarterbacks, I always tend to want to try and scramble with them instead of staying in the pocket. As here's a 2nd and 16. This one thrown, and Smith comes down with it. Michael Smith, touchdown Michigan. What a run after the catch for the senior tight end. I got a lot of crap in the offseason video. Why'd you let Dorian Fleming go? Well, that's because I like Michael Smith and what he could bring to the table. Of course, we didn't know we were going to bring him in when we went to the players leaving screen. But overall, I had a feeling we'd find somebody, and Michael Smith is playing really well so far this season. From the moment I joined the action, we've played really well ever since then, but Eastern Michigan is knocking on the door, looking for some points here to try and get themselves back in it maybe. At least make it look competitive, and I think the way that they've played today, this is a really good football team. You go on the road and beat a top 5 Texas team, and then you come back at home and you kind of struggle a little bit against a mid-level MAC school, as Jeff Fair's now shaken up, and it really does feel like the wear and tear is starting to pile on for this Michigan team. 3rd down and 12 here for Eastern Michigan. This one thrown underneath and off the helmet of the tight end, and that's going to bring up a 4th and 12. This right here would seal it if we're able to get off the field. 4th down and 12 in the pocket. Thrown to the end zone, and it is broken up by Shamari Earls. It's a turnover on downs, and that should just about do it. As we get one more score just for good measure, it's a 44-17 win for Michigan. There's no reason that it should have been 24-17 at the half. The defense finally woke up a little bit, and we were able to cruise to a victory in the second half to move to 3-0. You know, the defense played really well, holding Eastern Michigan to only 200 yards of offense. We had 464 yards ourselves. And then Bryce Underwood, 22 of 33 passing, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and a really solid performance. And then Dombrowski, the true freshman, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. That's a really solid performance. Also had 4 catches for 32 yards in the receiving game. Aiden Mizell finally had a strong performance, had a touchdown, along with Michael Smith and Malik Clark. Defensively, the true freshman George Luter had 1.5 sacks. Jeff Fair had a sack. And then Mason Curtis, Casey Heyman, and Enal Etta all had half a sack. Did not force an interception in this game and did not force a turnover in general. That's kind of concerning because you'd think you can make some plays on Eastern Michigan. Overall, pretty dominant victory. Not really disappointed with that. For the battle for 4-star quarterback Teddy Cush, Notre Dame is in first place. He's moved to his top 3, and it really feels like a commit to Notre Dame is likely. And so for that reason alone, I'm going to remove him from the board. This also allows us to bring a guy like Dwayne Spriggs in on a visit potentially. We're going to schedule it for Oregon and hope that we can stay in this battle until week 8. And hopefully with a visit, we can hopefully bring him in. We're also going to bring in Jose Hughes. He will have a complimentary visit with the guard that we just scheduled for that Oregon game, as that is 2 guys coming on campus. And then I also want to bring in the number 1 player in the nation in on a visit. John Albright from Indiana is actually not ready to take a visit. We need to get him down to the top 5 so we're able to do that. Maybe DeMarcus Morrow, it'd be a good idea to bring him in on a visit once we get to the top 5. Other than that, we are in the lead for a lot of these battles. I think maybe the battle for Marshall Wall could be interesting to try and bring him in on a visit. We just don't have the points to be able to make that happen yet. Maybe Stephen Willett, because overall, I don't know if we're going to be able to bring in DeMarcus Morrow. And I think Stephen Willett may be the guy that we need to bring in. So we'll bring him in on a visit as well against Oregon. So 3 guys will be at that game. But recruiting's looking pretty good. I've only had to take 2 guys off the board. We've currently have offered 17 scholarships. And then there are a couple of guys that I'm still really excited about, like Jose Hughes is interesting. Kevon Droge is also very interesting at receiver. We're in first place and nobody else has even offered at this point. Okay, now at this point, we can offer a visit for John Albright, or we can schedule a visit. We're going to get another complimentary visit in there. And I think that Oregon week is going to be a huge week for us as far as recruiting goes. Lee Bouchard also, I would like to bring him in on a visit. However, we're going to bring him in for the game against Rutgers. He's the number 2 tackle in the nation. So 2 huge visits upcoming here in a couple of weeks. And for DeMarcus Morrow, we have moved into first place over Washington. We're still not in the top 5, unfortunately, so we can't hard sell or bring him in on a visit. But to see that we've made progress on DeMarcus Morrow is very good to see. For 5-star edge rusher Mac Bushman, Notre Dame is making a push, so I think it would be important to try and bring him in on a visit in that Rutgers week as well. And then if there's anybody else we could bring in, maybe Marshall Wall. But unfortunately, it does look like Georgia is the clear-cut favorite in that battle. And it may be a good opportunity to cut our losses. In the battle for Dwayne Spriggs, it looks like Wisconsin may be the team that comes out on top in that battle. Therefore, I think Teddy Maddox is now going to be the guy that makes the most amount of sense. We are able to hard sell in this situation, which is really good because it should separate us from the pack. So I'm going to schedule a visit here for Terrell Gossett, but I'm not actually thinking that it's going to do anything for us because it's going to be in week 9, which is going to make it after the visits to Wisconsin and Nebraska. And at that point, he may have already decided to commit. So that visit may not make a whole lot of sense. In the battle for Larry Fine, Alabama looks like the team that's going to win that battle. But we have 2 running backs here that we like in Darren Enna and Jose Hughes. So I'm not going to get too concerned with that. So the last game of this episode is going to be against Indiana. They are 3-1. They're 1-0 in conference play. And at this point, I'm interested to know what their roster looks like with Kirk Cignetti. It wasn't a good season last year for him, and they do have Alberto Mendoza. So Fernando Mendoza's brother is going to be the starter. I thought maybe they would go and look for a transfer portal quarterback. They did not. They're sticking with the Mendozas at quarterback. As far as running back goes, not really blown away there, but they do have LeBron Bond, 92 overall, 94 speed receiver, and Xavier Johnson. Nitro Tuggle also in this offense. So they do have a really solid receiving core overall. The offensive line is just solid. That's how I would describe it. They're just solid. And then defensively, they have an injury to their star defensive tackle, so they'll have to rely on Joe Strickland up the middle. And their linebackers aren't too bad, actually. With Elijah Hardy and Arsenio Carrion, they do have pretty solid linebackers. The secondary is solid. It's all right, but they don't have great depth. So they have Jamari DeLoach, which is a really good corner, but behind him, I think they have some corners that we're going to look to take advantage of. Not a bad team on paper, but I do think we have the better team overall. As we'll go on the road to take on the Hoosiers and see if we can't beat Curt Cignetti for the second season in a row. If you guys are enjoying this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. If you guys have enjoyed this series, let me know in the comments below how you guys have liked it. I've enjoyed putting it together. I've had a lot of fun. It makes me excited to really start a dynasty on College Football 27. And then I do plan on starting a live stream coaching carousel dynasty as well. We'll see how that works out, if it's a good little project that I can work on. If not, I'll scrap it. But I've enjoyed doing this series. I do look forward to continue making these episodes as we move towards the summer when we get on to our College Football 27 dynasty. As we are on the road in Bloomington, looking to move to 4-0. It's been an excellent start to the season, and I don't plan on that ending in this episode here. But we do go 3-and-out, and Indiana in a hurry has moved down the field. They're at the 4-yard line, knocking on the door, looking for points. Alberto Mendoza is the quarterback for the Indiana offense. Here's the handoff, an excellent run, and a touchdown for the Hoosiers. What a start for Indiana. Jaron Humphrey, the running back wearing number 43. I like the vintage number choice, but you can't draw it up any better if you're Indiana. You force a 3-and-out, and then you run 3 plays and score a touchdown. It was Jaleel Hagman who went 42 yards to put him down inside Michigan territory. And there's a 30-yard touchdown to Malik Clark to tie things up here on the road. We need the defense to make some plays in this game, as they're going to be hit with a 3rd and 2 on their own 48-yard line now. Let's see what the defense can do in this situation right now. Humphrey is the running back. Alberto Mendoza will drop back and throw a strike for a first down to the 39-yard line. That's Xavier Johnson on his first reception of the game. Here's a play fake now for Mendoza. In the pocket, throws underneath to the tight end, and Nathaniel Owusu-Boateng is going to break that one up. 2nd down now. Mendoza drops back, throws this one to LeBron. Interesting name choice, as that'll bring up a 3rd and 5 for Indiana at the Michigan's 33-yard line, as they're going to go play fake. Mendoza quickly outside, and the pass is broken up. And that's going to bring up a 50-and-a-half-yard field goal attempt to try and make this a 10-7 game. Left hash, it's up, and it is down the middle. 10-7, Indiana leads. 56-yard run, but there was a fumble on the play, and Indiana takes over. I don't know who just ran that there. We'll have to go and look at the stats to get a good idea of who it was. It was a 56-yard run, and it was Dom Brewski. Apparently, he's not going to get credit for the length of the run, but he is the one that fumbled. And Indiana takes over now at the 13-yard line. How are they at the 13? This makes no sense, because it was a 56-yard run followed by a fumble picked up at the... What in the world? As Indiana's knocking on the door all of a sudden. The fumble should have been picked up on Indiana's 13, but for some reason the game has placed them at our 13-yard line. What is going on here as the first quarter's winding down, and it's a 10-7 game with Indiana knocking on the door? It makes literally no sense how they are in the situation that they're in right now. But at the end of the day, the defense is going to have to come up with a stop, because at this point, there's nothing else we can do about it. From the 9-yard line, they go with a run on the ground. 1st and goal. Jaleel Hagman back in the game after his long run earlier. Had to take a long breather. So first and goal now. They do run it again. Excellent job there by Michigan. And that'll bring up a second and goal from the 5-yard line. They're going to drop back to throw. Mendoza gets out of the pocket, throws, and it's broken up by Nathaniel Owusu-Boateng. I'm going to have to start calling him NOB. Make it a little bit easier on myself. Third down and goal now. Here is pressure. Mendoza to the end zone. Touchdown, LeBron. I'd say we got screwed over a little bit. LeBron Bond with the touchdown. And now the offense needs to respond. And going back-to-back runs, setting up a 3rd and 7 is not really how you do that. As here is a big-time play. Michael Smith has some separation. He's got it to the 36-yard line. Bryce Underwood goes over 100 yards passing on that one right there. Remember, Don Bruschi in for the injured Micah Kaapana, and Bruschi is going to carry this one. It's a pickup of 9.5 yards. Only 11 yards for Bruschi so far on the day. From the 26-yard line of Indiana, they go back to Bruschi on the ground, and he's taken down for a loss. 2 tight ends in the game now on 3rd and 2. Bruschi with the carry. He's got the first down, and he's taken down at the 12-yard line. Don Bruschi maybe getting a little bit of momentum here on the ground. We're going to go right back to him here. What a pursuit by Indiana. Elijah Hardy with an excellent play. After the loss brings up 2nd and 14. Underwood, his eyes are looking. He's going to flick the scramble. What a play by Bryce Underwood. What a play! And the pass is dropped by Malik Clark. Jake Guarnera also injured on the play. You know it's bad when I'm taking the snap and the first thing that I'm looking to do is scramble. I just get a little flustered. And I know that Underwood has the ability to scramble, so instead of staying strong in the pocket, I look to try and make a play. And he about did. So 3rd down and 14 now. Here is Michael Smith, and he's overshot. He was wide open. That's got to be a completion for Bryce Underwood. It has to be. As Chad Dennis comes out to make this a 7-point game, and he does just that. 17-10 the score. And now I think it's important the defense makes a play. And Lugard Edokpai definitely just did that, as that's going to bring up a 3rd and 23, followed by a 13-yard reception and a punt, as Michigan will look for some points here before the end of the half. And we have it now at the 22-yard line, knocking on the door here. We go play fake here. Underwood in the pocket. He's going to look to scramble again. Underwood with a juke, diving down. What is he doing? And this looks like it's going to turn into a touchdown for Indiana. Are you kidding me? Touchdown Hoosiers. And just what a bizarre game so far. We've been screwed over by the ball being placed on the opposite side of the field. And then Underwood, instead of sliding, he dives and then loses the ball. And all of a sudden, it's a 14-point game. What is going on in Bloomington? And Indiana's now moved in 1st and goal at the 4-yard line. And they're already leading by 2 touchdowns. Alberto Mendoza in the pocket. He throws. Touchdown, Indiana. LeBron Bond, 2nd of the game. And it's a 21-point game. Wow. I am stunned at the moment. There's still time to come back. You still have a whole half of football to play. But to begin the episode with a really dominant road victory over a top 5 team, and then to finish the episode by going on the road against Indiana, and you're just getting dominated. I don't think that just playing conservative here to end the half is going to help you at all. You have 3 timeouts. You need to treat this as if you need to score, as Bruschi's going to pick up good yardage, 9 yards to be exact. And now you have to play a little bit of hurry-up football here. You do have 3 timeouts, so you need to be smart with it. Michael Smith up the seam, and he can't come down with it. And Jake Guarnera is dealing with some pain at the moment. It's not good when your starting center is constantly hurt in the game. As we'll bring out DeCarlos Young here for this 3rd and 1. DeCarlos Young has some space, picks up the first down, and we'll use our first timeout. We'll see how soft of coverage Indiana plays here, as Underwood's going to scramble He slides down, picks up 8 yards. As we'll go hurry up here. Press coverage on Aiden Mizell out there. This might be a nice try right here to throw a deep ball. Mizell can't come down with it. I like the attempt. You got press coverage against Aiden Mizell, who has 98 speed. I'll do that 10 out of 10 times. That brings up a 3rd and 2. Michael Smith has it, and Michael Smith will be taken down at the 41-yard line. We'll take our second timeout. It's not looking like we're going to have an opportunity to score a touchdown, however. So this may just be we're playing for a field goal. Michael Smith comes down with it with 6 seconds remaining. We'll take our last timeout. Now, it's kind of risky to run another play right here. So I am going to take the field goal, make it a 17-point game. Points are points at this point in the game. When you're trailing by 21, the comeback has to start some way. You have to start by getting points on the board. That's what we do, and it should be 31-13 at the end of the first half. After each team punted the ball here a couple of times to begin the third quarter, we have it now at the 34-yard line. Dombrowski the carry. What a run by Dombrowski, the freshman. Gain of 10 yards, 16 carries for Dombrowski so far on the game. You have to score right here, make it an 11-point game. As here is Underwood. Get rid of the football, and it's going to be intercepted. I hit the button, and he didn't throw it. So I hit it again, and at that point, it was just too late. This has just been an atrocious game. Miracles can still always happen, and there's the sack by George Luter. It's the freshman's second of the game. We're spoiling an excellent game with a terrible outcome. So 2nd down and 16 for Alberto Mendoza. They get the snap off. Here's pressure, another sack for Michigan. That's Jeff Fair that time. And after the Bryce Underwood interception, it does look like the defense is going to make a play for us. It's 3rd and 22. Mendoza drops back. Does have time to throw this one, and it's a tackle for Casey Heyman, and Michigan will get the ball back. You need a big-time play at this point in the game. 5:45 to go. Underwood, with some pressure in his face, is just going to scramble out of bounds. That should be a late hit. But Kirk Cignetti has just brought his team ready to play in this one. 2nd down, Indiana brings 4, and Underwood's going to scramble again. I want to make sure that we're able to put together some plays where we're putting together positive yardage. And sometimes the best way to do that is just scrambling with Underwood. There's a man wide open. I see it. It's Amarion Stewart down the sidelines. I'm just flustered in this game so far. After the sack, it's a 2nd and 15, and Underwood's going to step up again and scramble. He waits for his blocker and picks up 11 yards. It's Bryce Underwood scramble simulator at this point. So brings up a 3rd and 4. Michael Smith is open underneath, and he's got the 1st down up to the 49. 1st down and 10. Brewski open underneath, and Dombrowski is going to pick up 6 yards. We're going to go to some hurry up here. See if we can't take a shot to the end zone. Depending on what that safety does with Aiden Mizell on the post. And guess what? Underwood's getting out of the pocket again. And he's going to scramble, and he's going to pick up another 1st down with his legs. It's what's working right now for me. You can't blame me. I'm sure that when I look back at it, I'm probably missing a lot of wide open guys. But it's the point that I don't want to make a mistake is Aiden Mizell was open on the RPO. We had just went to throw it a little too late. As they go press coverage on Mizell again. Michael Smith's open. We're going to throw it to the tight end, and he picks up 4 yards. 3rd down and 4 upcoming. 7 catches for 83 yards for Michael Smith. As he leaves the field, Hogan Hansen into the game now at tight end. Hogan Hansen comes down with it inside the 15-yard line. As Michael Smith comes back in the game, he's open. Touchdown, Michigan. Finally, a touchdown here in the 3rd quarter. And it's only a 2-score game now. 3rd down and 4 here for Indiana. We've had a lot of success with pressure here in the 2nd half so far. Here's Mendoza, incomplete, broken up by Dion Mangum. And the Michigan defense is going to get a stop. You know, to put your defense in man coverage like that and bring 6 guys to try and bring some pressure on the quarterback is risky. But we've had a lot of success doing it here in this game. As we take over now at the 20-yard line. Big time possession upcoming for Michigan. Michael Smith is wide open. The throw to the tight end in space and a first down. 9 catches for 123 for Michael Smith. I'm telling you, you guys wanted me to bring back Dorian Fleming. To the guy that commented that, I'm just messing around. I think that I probably should have brought him back because then we could have had 2 really good tight ends. As here is Mizell. The speedster picks up a first down. And I think at this point, you really don't need to pass the ball every down anymore. You're able to run it now. You have time on your side as Dombrowski breaks the tackle and picks up 7 yards. Dombrowski does have a little bit of wear and tear to his right knee as he picks up the first down up to the 29 of Indiana. 1st and 10 now as Underwood's going to step up. He has plenty of room to run. Bryce Underwood, touchdown Michigan. It's a 1-score game. The offense has put together some solid possessions here to put themselves back in this game, but the defense has done their thing as well. Now at this point, really just looking for one more stop. We'll go for 2 to make it a 3-point game. Here is Underwood in the pocket. Michael Smith comes up shy of the goal line. And now we rely on the defense. And there's a fumble recovered by Shamari Earls all the way at the 12-yard line. And now you know what I'm thinking, what happened on that long run was it wasn't actually a long run. It shows the blue line like that because it's showing you that you got the ball there. I don't know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But we get a huge turnover and now an opportunity to take the lead. So I take back what I said earlier. I don't think we actually were getting screwed over. I just think that Dombrowski fumbled the ball at our 13-yard line. Brings up a 2nd and 5. Malik Clark is open, and we get it to him. 3rd and 1 upcoming. And on 3rd and 1, I don't really know what to call. I'm not liking the options it's given to me. Here's a halfback draw. I think you have to call a timeout right here because changing the play at this point is risky because now you would risk a false start. So we're going to call a timeout. You got to make sure you get this play right. 3rd and 1 upcoming. This is one of the biggest plays of the game. 3rd down. Give to Dombrowski. Touchdown, Michigan. They've taken the lead after trailing 31-13. They now have the lead. Looking for the 2-point conversion to go up by 3. I like Underwood getting out of the pocket here on this play. We do that. And Underwood's got the corner. He's got the 2-point conversion. It's a 3-point game with 6:39 remaining. After a sack, Indiana is backed up 2nd and 17 at their own 18-yard line. The defense has had an excellent performance. And this one's going to be hit to the tight end for a first down. Great pass by Alberto Mendoza. But the defense has put on a masterclass performance after giving up 31 points in the first half. Tight end in motion here for Indiana. 1st down and 10. As this one's going to be a handoff, and Nathaniel Usu-Boateng is there to wrap up for a tackle. Like I said, we found a lot of success bringing pressure in this game. We've gotten to Mendoza multiple times, as that brings up 2nd and 9. And Mendoza's taken down by George Luter, who's had an excellent game. 4 TFLs, 2 sacks. The true freshman's putting in a player of the week performance in this game. 3rd and 12 upcoming, 4:20 remaining. Mendoza in the pocket, has time, throws across the middle. He's got his man. It's Xavier Johnson with the first down to the 37-yard line. Again, I'm going to have to go back to bringing pressure. From the 37 now, here is pressure, and it's a first down, dumped off to the 27-yard line. Nitro Tuggle only his 2nd reception of the game as the clock continues to run. From the 27-yard line, here's an RPO to the outside, and it is hauled in by LeBron. LeBron Bonds had himself a pretty solid game. About 3 minutes remaining now as Indiana's into the red zone. Here's the handoff to the outside. What a tackle by Jordan Young, who's continuing to have a really solid season. 2:30 remaining. Indiana with the ball. There's the RPO to the tight end, and he's taken down at the 10-yard line. 1st and 10 upcoming. And that is going to take you to the 2-minute timeout. 34-31 to score. What a game. And what a comeback by Michigan. But is it all for naught? That's the question here. From the 10-yard line, Michigan brings pressure. Mendoza has time to the end zone. Touchdown, Indiana. Xavier Johnson, matched up on our number 1 corner, Cortland Guillory, is able to haul that one in tight coverage. And the PAT will make this a 4-point game with 1:56 remaining. Remember, we used a timeout with about 6.5 minutes to go, so we only have 2 timeouts. And the game will come down to Bryce Underwood and this receiving core. Obviously, if you're Indiana, the main focus has to be where is Michael Smith on the field, because he's been the go-to guy today for Bryce Underwood. And they should have no reason to believe that he's not going to get the ball in his hands, and he can't come down with it. It was nearly intercepted. Oh my gosh, that was nearly a game ender. He was wide open. Jamar Browder in the game now for Michigan on 2nd down and 10. Browder gets it up the seam. A 1st down to Jamar Browder to the 43-yard line of Indiana. Time is running here for Michigan at the 48-yard line. Malik Clark's wide open. In stride, Malik Clark up the middle. Malik Clark, touchdown, Michigan. What a play. I was sweating right there. We had just had a negative play. We were backed up. The clock was continuing to run. You can't take a timeout. You're under a minute to go, and Malik Clark was just wide open. And then the fight to get across the goal line and score as Bryce Underwood goes over 300 yards passing for, I think, the first time in this dynasty. And we now lead 41-38, and it comes down to our defense. Indiana does have all 3 of their timeouts, though, and they only need to get into field goal range to try and tie this game up, as Ole Miss has beaten Oregon State 62-14. How about that blowout? I'm in the 4-3 right now, and I don't really like it. 1st and 10. They're going with a draw as Dion Mangum's there to make the play. What is Indiana's plan with that play call? That was atrocious. Whoever called that should be fired immediately. So that brings up 2nd and 8. Mendoza in the pocket, does have time to throw. Finally throws it, and it's caught with one hand. If that's an accurate pass, that's potentially a touchdown for Indiana. They only have 1 timeout remaining. They can't run the ball again. That would be stupid. Mendoza's going down. He's sacked by Enal Etta, and they've taken their final timeout. 2nd and 16 now, all the way at their own 26-yard line. Mendoza in the pocket is just going to dump this one down to LeBron Bond, and he'll pick up 9 yards, but not getting out of bounds. Clock continuing to run. Probably would have been better off just throwing that one away. 24 seconds remaining. Mendoza has time again. Throws to the outside and is caught by Nitro Tuggle for a 1st down up to the 47-yard line. You know, if they pick up a 1st down here, get up to the line and spike it, they definitely have time to get off a field goal. I don't think they have to panic at this point. Mendoza does have time. Again to throw. He's throwing to the end zone. LeBron Bond! Broken up by Shamari Earls. And now with 11 seconds to go, now it is getting to the point where you might have to panic. Would you have enough time to get up to the line and spike it? 11 seconds. Mendoza has time again. Throws to the outside. It's intercepted by Jaden Sanders. With 7 seconds remaining, Michigan has pulled off the comeback. Even into the Jack Angel era, they're doing the Cardi Boys, the celebration. Jaden Sanders, who entered the transfer portal in real life. Not really sure why. I thought he was going to be in line to have big playing time, if not this year. You know, this upcoming season, maybe the year afterwards. With 7 seconds remaining, we can just kneel it down and win this game 41-38. We trailed 31-13 at the half, and then we scored 28 points in the second half to come back and beat Indiana. And they thought they could pull off the upset. They thought wrong. Bryce Underwood, the hero of this game. And then Malik Clark, what a play by Malik Clark, the sophomore speedster, who I think is going to be the best receiver you're going to see in the Dynasty. As we move to 4-0, put up 504 yards of offense. We held Indiana to only 349. Alberto Mendoza had time to throw all game, it felt like, but he did get sacked 5 times. Jaleel Hagman had 70 yards rushing. Jaron Humphrey had a touchdown. And LeBron Bond is an excellent receiver. 9 catches, 90 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's pretty solid overall. And then for us, Bryce Underwood, 23 of 32 passing, 344 yards, 3 touchdowns, did throw an interception. He fumbled as well. And then Dom Brewski fumbled as well. So each of them had a touchdown on the ground. And then receiving, Michael Smith, 9 catches, 123 yards, and a touchdown. Malik Clark, 7 for 113 and 2 touchdowns. And I think Aiden Mizell has been the flop of the transfer portal. Maybe he should have just stayed with Miami because he's not really done a whole lot for us this season. And then defensively, how about George Luter, the true freshman? 2 sacks, 4 TFLs. Lugard Edok Pai had 1.5. Jeff Fair had 1. Enal Etta had 1. And then Casey Heyman, our nickelback, had a half sack as well. And then Jaden Sanders with the interception. Shamari Earls also forced a fumble in this game. But the player that I'm most pleased with was George Luter. He played really well in this game, filling in for the injured Marquise Lightfoot. I don't think that he's going to leave the field once Lightfoot comes back. We do pick up our first commitment of the season, and it's 4-star corner Marco DiNucci. He wasn't really heavily pursued at all. He was kind of an easy pickup for us. Dwayne Spriggs also has locked us out. It's between Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Iowa for him, as we stay the number 4 team in the country after that victory. And the next one's a big one against number 5 Penn State. I'm surprised this isn't a night game because it'd be a perfect wideout opportunity. Then you also have on the road against UCLA. You have at home against Oregon. So I would anticipate the next episode being this 3-game stretch right here. And then we could probably get through the last 5 games in one episode because Rutgers sucks, Illinois sucks, and Iowa sucks as well. Michigan State, by the time we play them, they're probably going to suck as well. And Ohio State, they're 3-1. Let me look at their schedule. Like, who did they lose to? They lost to Alabama. That's an interesting matchup right there. They lost 38-20 in that game. Does Ohio State really play Alabama in real life in 2027? But that is going to do it for this episode. It was a fun one. Good win against Texas. Good comeback win against Indiana. But we have 3 tough matchups in the next episode. Bryce Underwood has looked a lot better in this offense compared to the offense last year. 10 passing touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. He's also our leading rusher, which is a little bit concerning. Micah Kaapana, hopefully we're going to get him back here soon. Dom Brewski's played pretty well. And then receiving, Malik Clark, really solid season overall. Same with Michael Smith. And then Aiden Mizell, 131 yards, 1 touchdown. He's not been that big of a flop, I guess, but only 11 catches through 4 games. That's kind of, you know, that's under what I was expecting. And then defensively, we have Mason Curtis leading us in tackles. We have Enal Etta and George Luter leading us in sacks. So the true freshman has put together a pretty strong start to the season. And then Jaden Sanders, he just got our first interception. And have we even recovered a fumble? Shamari Earls has recovered 2. So we've only forced 3 turnovers so far this season. But that is going to do it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, there were times during this episode where my commentary was a little rough. I'm going to continue to try and get better at it. Overall, I love your guys' feedback. I love that you guys watch these episodes. And as long as you guys keep watching, I'll keep getting better. And that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.